Hey guys, good morning. It is September the 21st, and I just wanted to show you how awful and weedy my garden is. I'm waiting for it to cool down a little bit to get out here and just pull all of this out, but it's really bright out here this morning. It's already hot. It's probably already 80 something degrees, and it's only about 7:30 a.m. And I wanted to show you just how ridiculous this actually looks. It's so overwhelming, I don't even know where to start. But we're still getting harvest off stuff, and there are things growing back. I'm getting a new growth on the tomato plants, which usually happens this time of year. It starts putting back out at the top. And usually the big tomatoes do not actually turn necessarily red before it gets to the point where it gets too cold, because that could happen in 3 weeks. We could have a frost as early as mid-October sometimes, but it's not normal to get it that early. But I will just show you a little bit of this ridiculousness so that you know that everything is not 100% kept so beautiful here on the farm. When it gets to a certain time of the year, I just go, I'm done, and wait and clean it out and get the fall garden in. So take a look at this mess. And I'm sorry ahead of time that I'm squinting because it is so bright out here. Guys, what is this? Like, this is ridiculous. This is outside. This is mint, which I do love. I don't have a problem with mint. I like it to spread. I like it to spread on the outside. But this is a bit excessive. And even my holy basil took over my strawberry bed and actually choked out my strawberries. Have a few here that survived. So it's like I love holy basil, so I'm not upset because this is so great. Oh, look. Here's a watermelon plant trying to grow. It ain't gonna do anything. All my basil's going to seed. This is the outside. There's some more watermelons trying to grow. They're putting back out. We have pigweed everywhere, which I need to get before this turns into seed and gets everywhere. That's why I came out here this morning and see another holy basil. I left these two tiny little plants in there, and I meant to keep them trimmed, but you know how that goes. These two beds look okay. These are strawberries. This is full of strawberries, and this is full of strawberries. And some of those horrible spiky plants that are not conducive to pulling weeds. This isn't as bad over here. But it's still weedy. We need to get all these weeds taken care of, and that is a mess back there. I just don't even know what to do. I just don't even know what to do. In relation to my chicken coop over there, just so you have an idea, and that's the vineyard. The house is up there, and the tiny house is over there, and then we have our garden and greenhouse here. I am happy that this part of my garden is staying a bit clean to walk into, but I need to do some harvesting. We have peppers galore on these plants. But this is chocolate mint and St. John's wort creeping all out into the whole ground, which is fine. I don't mind. Elderberries that I've got to get in as soon as it cools off a little bit. These are some of the weeds I have actually picked. And for y'all who did not see the inside of my greenhouse. It's a jungle. It is literally a jungle in here. I can't even walk through here. And I really need to clean it out, but I'm gonna wait till it cools off of me to get in here, because it's a lot easier when it's cool outside to get inside here. It actually feels nice when it's cold. I do my greenhouse work and getting all my pots and everything stacked back up and hung up and put in. I do all that when it's more frigid outside, because then it feels good in here. Because it is not that, it's not actually, it's 70 degrees in here, which is actually cooler than it is in the sun, which is strange. But to get to my other gate, these are the weeds that are in the way. I can't. It's just too much. And I've got sunflowers bending over. I've got to pull all of this out. In the next week or so, all of this is going. I'm going to walk through here and try not to step on a snake. You never know. Let's go out this gate. Oh, well, while we're in here, just so you know, this is a lot of weeds. I need to get my couple of nieces down here and my nephew and get some weeds pulled. There's my mom's hiding out in there. That one's completely covered. There's just a random zinnia. I love these flowers, honestly. I really do. They're the wild black-eyed Susan. And all I did was lay a twig on the ground last year. And I will walk around here and show you what happened. This is disturbing. But this is what happened from laying one little twig against the greenhouse wall. And those are Mexican sunflowers. And they will grow back and reseed every year also, but I mean, it's a beautiful mess. Brings lots of pollinators, but it is quite messy. We got some pretty zinnias over here. You see, my tomatoes are putting back out at the top. I actually have tomatoes over here. Let's walk around here. These Amish paste tomatoes. Got a few tomatoes on there. And I can harvest these as green tomatoes and just cook them and they'll be fine. Here's a little Roma putting out. They don't do as good this time of year, but sometimes they'll give me some green tomatoes to get by for the rest of the year. My rogue turnip greens that grow every year on the ground. But I have so neglected these strawberry beds, and I have got to get a handle on this. I got to do better, because this is just weeds. And my husband is great. He works every day and still tries to maintain grass, but when he's kind of like, when he sees this, he just doesn't do it because it's so overwhelming. Well, here's some beefsteak tomatoes coming on. Again, there's some tomatoes. These are really twiggy too. This is from the other side of this little wildflower garden. I call it my pollinator garden. I do love it. I just can't even walk in here. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I mean, I have a pot of roses that I rooted over there that you can't even see anymore. This is a little out of control. And this is right up against the greenhouse. And I have more roses that I have. When I trim this thing, I just stick them in these buckets. So they end up growing a lot of times just in the bucket. but I have these poke plants that I meant to get out of here because they're literally right up against the greenhouse. But I mean, these things are ginormous. So these weeds are a little much. They're almost to the roof. It's a little excessive, I think. And this is a little excessive. I did not even cut this one time this year. And somebody come and cut hay the other day. And when they cut the hay, they 100% did not cut any of mine. And I was like, really? You could have cut all of that and just taken that field down. But no, they just cut over here. Let's walk over and look at our atrocious beans. I did let them go, just go to seed. And I think we will have plenty. So if you need some Alabama humidity resistant pole beans seeds, let me know, because I'm pretty sure I got you covered. These are the 3rd year that these have been growing, and I need to come out here and pick because look at this. I can have me some green beans for dinner tonight. I didn't even realize they were still putting on beans. I thought they were all dried up, but we still have some coming on. And they're beautiful. I do need to come pick today, but you can see all of the seed beans that we will have. So I think I put about 20 on each side. So 40 beans made this entire trellis. And I will try to link a picture of what it looked like back in when it was nice and beautiful and everything, because you can go back and I'll link the video of the garden tour back in the summer. But this looked beautiful. Everything's looking a little but that's to be expected this time of year. But these little salmon zinnias have just done so well this year. This is another one of those Mexican sunflowers. I have a whole pot of pigweed that I need to move, but look down here where, I don't know if y'all can see all of those little baby plants. That is chamomile. It's reseeded from the spring. And all of these little bitty plants are chamomiles. So just those seeds falling down, this will be full of chamomile, and I will get another harvest of chamomile this year before. I've just got to weed these guys out, which is cutting them, because I don't know if y'all have pigweed where you are, but we have pigweed, and it is kind of scary because the ones with the pink on them are usually the ones you have to worry about, because they have these daggers at the stem. So if you reach in here and grab this right here is a very stiff thorn. And we have these in green that have no thorns on them. But if they have any pink on them, be more cautious. It's another chamomile bed that is full of weeds, because that happens when you neglect it. This is a goji berry, and I've had it for a while, and it just has never really done great out here. I don't know if it's just our temperature they don't like. This is lemon basil and lemon balm and a weed. Let's go ahead and get you out of there. Some weeds in here too, but I have loved this lemon basil. It has been amazing. It tastes so good in the tea, and mixed with lemon balm, it's just been so good. But I'm letting it go to seed so that I have plenty for next year. And I'm hoping to have more raised beds put together and have them laid out here and over here. I just want to do beds with different kinds of teas in them. Here's my little rose hedge with weeds. But guys, I can't even get in here with all of the weeds. But I do need to get out here and harvest some peppers. Ooh, ants. There's a poblano that looks beautiful. I like this time of year because they'll start coming back. And there's so many ant beds out here. The serranos are looking good. Everything's looking good. I was trying to let some serranos go red so that I could make some fermented sriracha. So I need to come out and pick. These are cayennes. The purple cayennes, but they actually turn red once they get like too far gone. And there's a stink bug. And then we have these giant Marconi or whatever's, some jalapenos, red, and we also have Tabascos. That I just gotta get out here and I need to cut this grass so bad. So that might be what I do this evening if it dries out here enough. I usually plant tomatoes on these. My tomatoes this year did not do well on these trellises. They were just cherry tomatoes, and it was just not a good year for cherry tomatoes. But this is what I'm dealing with everywhere I walk. From after that hurricane came through, it's like my entire yard is ant piles. And I have rosemary and basils, but lots of weeds. But I'm still harvesting basil from my plants. Still got some tomatoes coming on here. Not too bad. The good thing about a long season is you kind of get a second chance at it. And these look pretty good. The basils are heading up to go to seed. And this was some of that lettuce leaf basil with the huge, let me pull one of these leaves off. With these huge leaves. You almost could do little lettuce wraps in them. But instead of lettuce, it would be a basil wrap, I guess, not a lettuce wrap. And my goal is to, I love these Mexican petunias. And these things are at least 5 feet tall. And I want to take out some of my roses that I have by my path that are kind of leaning in and overtaking my path. And I have to keep them trimmed. It's too close of it's too narrow of a path. So I'm going to plant these on either side of the path instead of those. I'm going to move all those down to my chicken coop and kind of let the roses climb up the outside of the run that's outside and kind of, you know, shade it a little bit and take over. Now this is definitely a mess that I'm not even sure I want to. I might just sit here and sip my water and look at it because it's a little lot, I guess you would say. I probably need to water these because they don't get out in the rain very often. But I have the lemons, the lemon trees. They got kind of damaged from the drought this year because I actually forgot to water them a couple of times. That one looks like it's turning into a lemon right now. So I will at least get a lemon this year, thank goodness. And then I moved these tomatoes out here later. So I'm getting these Berry's Crazy Cherry tomatoes. And they're growing on this. But I'm getting some tomatoes off of that. So I'll have some still to come. Some more pigweed. And I still have peppers that are, this is the time of year where they want to do the best. And I got to get out here and weed and pin these up. But these guys are a good, they're probably almost 4 feet tall if I pull them up and they're not draping over. But you can tell there's a spider web right there. I just walked into it. Fun. Fun, fun, fun. Looks kind of disgusting out here. My kale's putting back out now from planting it in the spring. So it's gonna start producing again, and I like it better when it's cold. There's some more peppers down in there. There's just random holy basil growing in the paths. I don't mind. I don't mind at all. There's some more. I mean, at least I'm getting it. Here's a bunch of tomatoes just sprawling across the ground in here. Some of my plants have fallen over into the path. That's not growing there. It just fell over from in the bed. Let's walk up here and show you. This is ridiculous. Never have I ever. This is the biggest watermelon. I'm very interested to see if it's even still good because it's been out here for a while. There's no telling. But I'm kind of interested to see if this thing's still good. I'll come get this thing in a little while. And we'll crack that thing open. These are spoon tomatoes. So they're teeny tiny little tomatoes that fit in your hand. Beautiful. Beautiful. That one was leaky. But this just grows back every year. Once you plant these, you never have to plant them again. They will come back year after year after year because these dry up and 8,000 seeds hit the ground. And this is after I pulled up a ton of plants. This is after all of that. So these guys are still producing. I still have peas that I'm letting dry on the vine, and then we're still having some purple hull peas come up. It's my kiwi. Never had fruit on it, but it said it took a few years before you could get fruit. And I have one on each side, and it's called a hardy kiwi. And these are some dried purple hull peas. And these are all weeds on this end, and there's purple hull peas that I planted later in the season just for an experiment. And they stayed so tiny. They stayed small, didn't get as bushy. Morning glories are a pain in the butt here. They just reseed themselves so prolifically. And then, y'all, this is oregano. And this is I want to say, I can't remember if it's Greek oregano or Italian oregano. I have both and I don't remember which one's which, but this is just creeping down, overtaking. I didn't know that it got so beautiful. And this is the broadleaf one. So I think I will put on there which one this is. Because this one is low growing and it creeps more than the other one. And the other one I have back there that's buried in weeds is the little tiny oregano, which I think is possibly the Italian oregano. Let's walk back here and look at the difference. There's this one. So there's this and there's this. And both of these are oregano. And this is a dark, dark green leaf compared to this small light green leaf. So they are so different. But look at that. Spaghetti sauce in my hand. We still have peppers coming on here. These are giant sweet peppers, but they're like a long pepper. It tastes just like a banana pepper, but they are just long and skinny, and they're sweet like a bell pepper. And then there's a habanado over there that is growing, and it's taking it all year to produce. And these are supposed to be like habaneros, but not hot. So I'm looking forward to these turning orange and being able to collect on some of those for the flavor. This one I'll let go a little bit too far. I need to just get it cleaned up. I also have a habanado over here that has peppers, but it took it all year. I mean, I don't know what took those so long, but it took them so long. There's some pepperoni-chinis or whatever there, and this is another habanado with some peppers coming on. And I need to trim my mom up. She ain't looking very good. And this is some more lemon, basil. Yes, lemon. Oh, that is so lemony. Y'all, I wish you could have smell-o-vision and smell this. It is fantastic. But this I didn't even deal with. This is my sweet potato and carrot bed. So I'll pull all this out and then carrots will grow because they reseed themselves every year. Here's one that had grown. And you know, if any of these fall on the ground, there's like 8 million seeds right there. They're so tiny, and I just can do this. And I'll have carrots again. And I don't have to replant. I just sprinkle it. This is exciting. This is a ginger that I didn't even know that I laid over here. So I'm hoping to possibly bring this in the house and try to overwinter it. I may leave it in the greenhouse for most of the winter, and if it gets really cold, move it. But I really want to work on establishing some ginger here that grows every year. I do have turmeric that I am establishing. You've probably seen it in another video. Let me walk over here. But I have 2 buckets of turmeric. And once this dies down, I'm gonna pull the roots up. Once this starts getting brown, I'll pull the roots, and then I'll replant what I want, and I'll harvest a little bit of it. Until I get it really established, I'm gonna try to replant it every year. And I did bring these in pots in the greenhouse for the winter. And I actually thought they died because I forgot to water them. I'm really bad about putting stuff in the greenhouse and forgetting about it. I'm sure no one else ever does that. You never forget about anything, right? I didn't think so. Y'all got it together. I just don't, apparently. I decided to sit down for a minute and just look at this mess because I was going to get down here and clean it, but I'm a little overwhelmed on all of these weeds. It is still relatively moist in the ground right now from last weekend's rain because we got, I think, 3 or 4 inches of rain in a 48-hour period. So it was like torrential. Like everything is still damp. It's not really dry yet, which is good. We did get the well fixed, so now I have water back at my garden and at my barn. The problem is, it's like when it rains, what is it? When it rains, it pours. I was about to say when it rains, it shines. That is not correct. When it rains, it pours because we had to replace our well pump a few months ago. And then we dropped it back down in there. And then the ground wire broke. And so we had to pull it back out. And we pulled the well back out and laid it out on the thing. And then it rained. And it rained on the days that we were going to fix it. It kept raining. And my husband's only off on certain days. And him working nights makes it a lot more. It's a lot more difficult to get things fixed around here because of his sleep schedule. And so it laid out there for 3 or 4 days. And then we finally, this last weekend, he got it fixed on Sunday, I think. rewired the entire thing so it has all new wiring. Dropped it back down in there, went and turned the pump on, and the pressure tank is leaking. Well, the pressure tank is it's like $350 for a pressure tank. And so I just want to cry because, you know, it's really hard when you have one income steadily. My business is growing, and that is why I started doing YouTube on the side as well, just to see if I could ever make any money. I'm not making any money on YouTube right now. You have to have like 1,000 subscribers or 4,000 watch hours or something like that in order to get monetized. And then it takes a couple months to get approved for that, and because they have to check everything and make sure you're not putting any content on there that they don't want on there. So it is a little bit of an ordeal. I do sell my farm products, so it's not like I'm not making anything. I just don't have a steady income that I had for 27 years. And so we're just in a different place right now, and it's a great place. Like, I love this better than working all the time. Like, I get to go see my grandbaby all the time, and, you know, I get to just hang out with her whenever. I can drop anything and just go see my baby, and that is my most favorite thing in the world to do. She does wear me out, though. She just started walking, and she's 10 months old. She just started walking, and I can't even believe that because we're planning a 1-year birthday party here in November. And I'm like, how is she one already? How did this happen? But she is my world, and I love her so much, and I love my children. I have 2 children, in case that did not get out there. I have a 24-year-old son. His name is Chase, and I have a almost 23-year-old daughter. She'll be 23 in October. And then I have a grandbaby and a son-in-law. And so I love my family. My family is so close. And my sister lives next door to us, and my niece lives next door to us, and my brother lives next door to us. So it's nice to have all the family. My dad lives only like 5 minutes away. He lives down on the lake. He used to live here on the property, but he decided he wanted the lake life again, so they moved. But they're still in the same town we're in. They're just on the water, and we're out back in the backwoods. We're actually about 1/4 of a mile off of the road, back in the woods. You can't just accidentally get to my house. But anyways, that was a little side note there. But if I had to tell you any advice, I would just say, most likely, my advice would be, right now, off the top of my head, would be to get as self-reliant as you possibly can wherever you are. And that may look different in a suburban area. Not everybody has, you know, acreage to farm on. And I understand that completely. But there are things that you can do in a little suburban backyard. And you can pot stuff up. Like, even if they say you can't have gardens, you can put stuff in pots and put it around your patio, put it around the sides of your house. Like, there are things that you can do everywhere. And this is a really good time if you live in a climate where you have mild winters. There are plenty of things that you can grow right now also. Even in heavy winters, there's things that frost and that snow can get on. Kale is one of those things that's so hardy that it actually tastes better after frost gets on it than anything. But you could plant collards and turnip greens and cabbages and broccolis and cauliflower and things like that. If you live in the southern region, it's better to plant those now than in the spring. So I plan to get some. I did not have time to get plants started, so I'm hoping to buy some starts to put in the ground with collards and things like that. I will just direct sow my lettuces, but it's still a little too warm to plant those yet. I need to wait till probably middle of October to plant some of the things that I got to plant for my fall and winter garden. But it's so nice to have those greens growing when you're lacking the sun. Here we have really short days. So in like the winter equinox, or I don't even know what the technical name for that is, but in dead winter, we only have daylight hours from about 6:30 or 7 6:30, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. And so they're very short hours in a day. Our longest time for light is in the middle of summer, and it is daylight from probably 6:30 in the morning, 5:30, 6:30 to 9 o'clock at night is the longest. So we do have short days, but we have long growing seasons. So it stays warm from April to January. It's off and on. Like here in Alabama, we call it, you never know what you're going to get pretty much. Like you have to wear a tank top, a short sleeve and a jacket. You might even have to have pants that, you know, you can unzip into those short things. Because you may leave the house and it's 30 degrees, but it's 80 degrees by, 1 o'clock. So, or 9 o'clock sometimes. Like we have like 30 or 40 degree differences just from night to day. And we don't live in a desert. So anyways, I'm sorry I got off on that long rant of talking about random things. But yeah, just be prepared in whatever capacity that you can. We have these little exercises that we do from time to time, and I call them BTNs, and it may be just like a quick thing that I can do, and I call it BTNs, better than nothing. Anything is better than nothing. So if you can go to the store and stock up on a few things, get you a couple of fall plants and try them. It's better than nothing. I mean, you only can experiment and you can only try. And don't give up if you fail, because I still have epic fails, and I've been doing this for over a decade and I still fail. I grew up on gardens, so I say a decade. I've been in the gardening mindset, and I grew up on a farm, so we had to work the farm. So we've had animals and gardening my entire life. So 47 years of life here, and I've been gardening for that long. I just started doing it myself in the past 15 years. Just all by myself, like try to get as self-reliant as possible. But yeah, so leave me a comment. Let me know what you plan to do this fall and maybe in the spring, or if you have any questions about what you can do. I will try to help you with anything that I can, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you for hanging out with me. God bless.